Right, so we are doing this in the wee hours of the morning, 9 o'clock. Mark forgot his keys last night and couldn't get in, so we've had to postpone till this morning. So if we sound a bit groggy, that's it. Although, Dan, you're in, what, the motherland, Israel?
Yeah.
They say. And,
I didn't go out drinking like you two, so I'm probably feeling...
you went to prayer. That's what he went to. He's on his pilgrimage at the moment. Right, so are you guys happy?
Happy? I'm delighted.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Either Arsenal being terrible or United getting Ronaldo, either or.
Oh, geez. We're not talking about Arsenal. This is a rugby pod now. Yeah, Ronaldo's gone back to Man United. A bit out of the blue. I want to open up with just saying that. I think I just figured this out this morning when I was trying to think, why did this happen? Why did Ronaldo decide to go back to Man United? And it's simply not to get outshined by Messi. Messi went to PSG. If Messi went to PSG and won another trophy, I think that thinks Ronaldo's thinking, well, if Messi wins, he's going to be called the best player of all time. He's got no shine. Where he thought, all right, maybe I'll try another team. He was going to go to Man City. And just like when Real Madrid and all the other teams were going to do the Super League, got talked out of it because he didn't realize how big of a situation or how bad it would have been for Man United. And then Man United came swooping in and he goes, all right, you can buy me for, was it 12 million euros? You can pay me less money and everything's all good.
Yeah, I'm still of the opinion he was never going to see. Never in a million years. In that morning when Mark messaged with crying emojis on the WhatsApp, being like, I can't believe it looks like it's going to happen. I still didn't believe it. I was like, I can't. It's Ronaldo. He just can't go to Man City. I just don't believe it.
Yeah, the reason that, well, one, because I don't listen to all the transfer talk. So once it hits Sky Sports, not Sky Sports Italy, the real Sky Sports, I'm like, okay, this is real talk. So when they come out and say Man City are in talks with Ronaldo, you're like, I take that seriously. And when I see it on the BBC, that's even more solidified. Like, BBC clearly have their gossip column, but when you see it on their main sport page, you're like, they are in talks.
Well, was there talk
I
before
don't
Juventus saw Ronaldo leaving before?
Yeah, basically Juventus, they got Pirlo last year as manager. It didn't quite work out, and they're just struggling. So I think Ronaldo's like, he's only got a couple good years left. He has to be somewhere that can compete. Like, I think eventually Juve will go back up the league and compete for the title, but I think Ronaldo wants to go somewhere he could win a Champions League. So I think the Messi comparison is like true if he went to City, because I think, to be honest, Messi's gone to PSG. He's guaranteed a trophy. Like, that's like, yeah,
but the one trophy that they want to win, isn't it? The one, I mean, yeah, he's going to probably win the league. That's fine, but it just seems like everyone or every big team chasing Champions League.
Yeah, and to be honest, if you look at PSG, you're like, I can't see them in it. Well, the only if is if Mbappe goes to Real Madrid in January. It looks quite close, but I think they'll run out of time this window. And I'm like, well, if PSG lose Mbappe, I don't see them winning a Champions League. But at the moment, it's hard to look past them. They've got a super team, and it's like, for Messi, it's like guaranteed trophy. And I feel like if Ronaldo going City, it would be the same. Like, City are just so good. Like, I'm hoping United put up a title challenge. And like, you look at United, Chelsea and Liverpool, potential title challenges, but City are just a level above the rest. And I feel like Ronaldo, if he went to City, it would have just been to guarantee a trophy. So I'm pleased.
I'm not sure I agree with that about City. Everyone's talking about City like they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. I look at that City team yesterday or Saturday, and I know you don't want to talk about Arsenal. We won't talk about Arsenal. Talk about City instead. And I know they've just won 5-0 on the trot twice, but they've been playing two terrible teams. But you're talking about a team that on Saturday, they didn't have their talisman in De Bruyne. They don't have a number 9. They're playing a right back at left back. Like, they aren't the team they were 2 or 3 years ago. They haven't got the Agueros, the Silvas, they just haven't got those players. Like, Ferran Torres is a good player. He's not a world-class striker. Like, they've got a bunch of decent players, but they're not the best players in the world in their position. I just think Pep has a good way of playing, and if you don't commit when you play City, they batter you. That's it, because of the style of play, the pressure and everything else. So if you don't play well, they will batter you. But if you play well, they can be got at, as Spurs showed in the first game. So there's all this talk, everyone's all this hype about City and they're the greatest thing ever. I just don't see it. I still don't think they'll finish top 2 in the league. I really don't. I just don't think they've got the squad for it. They've got 4 reserve players on their bench.
The thing for City is that they're built for the league, and they're generally always going to be built for that because they have depth in their numbers.
But they don't. That's my point. They don't.
They've got depth in the sense that when they bring on a player, it's usually going to be within Pep's system. You know, they all know how to play within his system, and he trains them very well. The thing that you know, there has been some dissenters with Ronaldo being like, oh, you know, he's a 37-year-old guy. You know, he's got a lot of miles on his tires. The thing that Ronaldo brings is that different mentality, that winning mentality in those big moments. Because you even said it, Mark. Like, you know, everyone's going, oh, instant 25, 30 goals. I don't know if that's what he's going to do, and I don't even know if that's what he's required to do. It's the big moments. It's the big. Man City probably wasted their chance last year in the Champions League final. This year, without a number 9, they're going to have a massive problem, I think, when it comes to those big moments, when it comes to later on in the Champions League, in the cups that they want to win. In the league, they'll roll over against most sides, and then they'll go up against some of the big teams like Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs, and try and just keep it to a minimum, maybe get 1 point, get a win if they can. And then even if they concede, it's not going to be like they're going to get smashed because they're just efficient in what they do. Where they'll lose or where they'll lack is big cup games. So Ronaldo going to Man United probably makes them more of a title challenger in the Premier League, but I actually think it's more for the cup, for the Champions League, you know, FA Cups or anything like that. That's what they're looking at. That's what Ronaldo's looking at. I'm interested to see, I don't know what happened. I'm interested to see what this means for Man United within the league, especially because I'm still confused. You know, they're not doing very well midfield wise, it seems, or everyone seems to be a bit dissenting. I think Man United are better in midfield than they get credit for. Probably it's because Fred is the most dynamic person.
Did you see Fred yesterday? I don't know if he knew he was playing a football match or not. I'm really not sure.
He has moments of being really good, and he has games where you look like, are you a professional footballer? He seems to be, he's like the opposite of Kante, where he's running everywhere, but like away from the ball as the way towards the ball. You know? Yeah.
So I do think sometimes Fred suffers with an issue of, if Man United don't play well, he'll get blamed, even by people who don't watch the game.
He played badly.
He does, but
we watched the game.
No, 3 times in 10 minutes. I mean, it was bad.
No, but he got blamed for the Southampton game as well. He's been blamed. What I mean is he's been blamed all season, and you're like, it is just one of those people. It's a bit like when I saw the lineup for Arsenal, and I was like, Callum Chambers is going to be at fault here. I know it already. Like, I don't need to see the match.
But he was, though. Yeah, I mean, you're saying just because they're saying it, you're kind of hinting at it won't be true. But
he does suffer more, because it'll be like, okay, he actually played bad against Wolves, and then it's like, okay, he's played bad, but people will be like, oh, that's it. He's terrible. He's played bad against Southampton, against Wolves, against this, and you're like, well, he wasn't that bad against Southampton. The team were bad against Southampton. Yeah, so it's like, it's already. People have already decided Fred's at fault before the game. So when he is at fault, it's like they double down. They're like, see, he's terrible. So I feel a bit sorry for Fred in that sense. But
I think we're missing McTominay massively. I think with Fred and then Pogba as your 2, we struggled. Like, Moutinho and Neves made them look stupid. I mean, Moutinho and Neves know how to have a 2 partnership in midfield. Fred and Pogba do not. You know, Pogba has obviously been playing out on the left and doing brilliantly. All of a sudden, he's now sitting in. I probably would have put Matic in. I don't know why Dan James is still playing. He still doesn't do anything. So I just think there was questions about the team itself. Obviously, McTominay's injured. I think all of a sudden you see how big a hole and a gap. So you're right, Chris. There's obviously a gap in midfield for United. They obviously need something. For whatever reason, Van der Beek just isn't being given the chance. Maybe he just can't play that role either. And he's just a Bruno Fernandes, and unfortunately isn't going to start over him. But just on the Ronaldo thing, the point about City, even if Ronaldo doesn't score 30 goals, even if he doesn't win United the league, if Ronaldo joined this City team, he would score 30 goals, because the one thing this City team are missing, they create 10 chances a game, they need a goal scorer. You put Haaland, you put Kane, you put Ronaldo, put Lukaku, you put any of those players in that team, you guarantee 30 goals, and therefore you guarantee yourself trophies and titles. So for United to take Ronaldo away and not let them have that, I think is more important than for the United to come and win all the, Ronaldo to come and win all the trophies with United. To not let them have that, was so important that I think it was a massive move. And for whatever it is, 15 million euros and a couple of year contract, you might get a trophy or two out of him. You'll probably get some inspiration and leadership in the dressing room like you did with Zlatan and like Cavani's done. I don't see any problem with it at all. I think it was a really good bit of business.
Regardless of the price and how much he costs, what what would you deem as a success? And actually, what do you think would be a failure in this? Is there a losing situation in getting Ronaldo right now for the price that he is? Or is it just like, okay, it can only be positives here?
No, because he's old. So the failure is if he starts looking his age, like a couple of times with Portugal, he's looked a bit old. And there's an issue of him not playing too well with Fernandes. And there is a risk he could make Bruno worse. So
I would say there's a risk he can make a few players worse, because you look at Greenwood yesterday and I'm like, is there
how good is Greenwood?
He's going to take up some time that other players could use for their own personal development. And I'm just wondering, I mean, we'll talk about England later, but that was one of the reasons why Greenwood stayed, is for that reason. I'm like, well, he's going to stay with his club for that. But if you've got Ronaldo kind of taking up minutes, they're not going to be playing in the same position, but the minutes have to be allocated somewhere. And I'm wondering, if this is going to hinder anyone's development.
There's like 70 games a season, right? Ronaldo's not going to play all 70 of those games. You need good rotation. You're going to get injuries. I think Greenwood is going to start plenty of games this year. He's going to score plenty of goals this year. He's 90. He's just turned 19 years old. Like, you can't
put England's best midfielders.
You can't put the whole Man United future and team on his back just yet, on his shoulders. Give him people around him that are good as well, and he will just get better. And if you take that pressure away, I think you put too much on him, like Arsenal are doing with Emil Smith Rowe, or you put too much pressure on a young teenager to be the guy in the team. I think it's tough.
We're trying to shoehorn this Arsenal topic.
Yeah, Arsenal have crushed Emil Smith Rowe.
Come on, leave it.
But yeah, no. Back to Ronaldo. No, he doesn't stifle anyone's development. In fact, I think he enhances it. I think Man U can get one season out of him. I can't see him staying for 2, to be honest. I think they put a 2-year contract to probably be able to resell him to an MLS team next year. I actually think it'll do some of the youngsters quite good to see how, because Ronaldo he's played from 16 to 38 at a top level, and you're like, there's a lot he could teach the players off the field, lifestyle, like what it takes to be a top player, like essentially give those players the answers. And like there was a great interview the other week with Schneider, who spoke about he could have been Messi's level, and he was just like, I just didn't want to do what Messi did. He was like, Messi doesn't drink, he doesn't party, he doesn't do this. He was like, I just wasn't willing to make those sacrifices. So he was like, I was happy with the level I got to with the life work balance. And I was like, what Ronaldo can do is say to these guys, look, if you actually want to be this level, this is the commitment you have to make. So I think there could be a lot he could teach, because I see him there for 1 year. So I don't think he stifles anyone's like development. I also think Greenwood is undroppable. Like he matched Robbie Fowler's goal tally as like the highest scoring teenager. And I'm like, it's so funny because he reminds me so much of Robbie Fowler. I'm like, he is just like a new Robbie Fowler. It's like he's so clinical. It's like as soon as he gets the ball, you're like, every shot is near a corner. It's not. Occasionally he'll hit one like wide or at the keeper, but everything's got half a chance of going in. And there's Do you see
his development going from wide to just centrals, number 9 or somewhere in the middle? Do you see that cutting in from the right hand side, kind of being his way?
I think he can develop. I think the game has developed so much these days. You look at someone like Salah, who can play as number 9. He can play as on the wing. He can play as an inside forward. I think that the roles are interchangeable. It's the ability. He's so two-footed. He's got such a good finish on both feet. He can dribble. He can step overs. He can pass. He can do everything. So you can kind of play him anywhere along the front line, which makes him even more valuable, because then you've got opportunity within the game to move him around, as he did. He played 3 different positions yesterday.
Lovely. And right, do you want to talk about any of the football matches? Did you watch the Liverpool-Chelsea one?
I did watch that. What did you make of the red card?
I think it's a bang on red card. I'm so surprised that it's even debatable. I'm so surprised that it's even debatable. It's hit off his thigh and onto his hand. Yeah, but it's kind of done it at the same time. But also when it hits his thigh and then onto his hand, his arm comes forward into it. And I know that was just a reaction, but if you're on momentum, if your arm is moving towards the ball in any situation, has to be a handball. I mean, if his arm's not there, it's a goal. That's just cut and dry for me. How is it not? And if the rule is, if you stop the ball from going in the area with your hand, it's a red card. The referee has zero choice.
The question is the rule. This is why there's so many people with differing views, because no one is clear anymore, because the rules change so regularly. They're not clear. That
everyone is clear. I think people are just pretending not to be. But the controversy wasn't the decision. Everyone was like, "Oh, they made the right decision." The controversy was the still, and I'm like, I'm actually a bit, because I watched all these weekends games on Match of the Day, and I've watched the Sky highlights, and it's like, I feel like they're just deliberately creating controversy. Like, they're talking about how well the
referees or the pundits?
The pundits, they're just, all they're talking about is VAR. VAR should have looked at this, and like, VAR should have looked at that. And I feel like when they said the reffing was good in the Euros, it's because ITV and that cast of BBC didn't talk too much about decisions. They didn't look at a foul in the middle of the game and say, should VAR have reviewed this? VAR should have told the ref to go look at this foul. And
the thing is, yesterday with the ref is like, yeah, a lot of them complain about how much time it takes. So the referees have tried to move faster, and because it's like he went and had a glance and look and moved and then went away. They're like, oh, it was too quick. How could he possibly have seen it? It's just no winning. I do think, was it Andy Taylor did almost rush it. He could have stayed there for like half a second longer.
Well, have you heard the there's a couple of clips you can find on YouTube where you can hear they've recorded the ref chatting with the VAR through games. And there's a few times where they basically said, the VAR said in their head, we've looked at it, it's a definite red card. Can you just go to the screen and make it look convincing? Basically what they're saying is, we've decided, like, it's done, but to help with the fans, to help everything, just go to the screen, make it look like you've looked, make it look convincing. And that's literally what they do. So he's going, oh, it's exactly the same thing, guarantees happened yesterday.
Just a bad actor.
Yeah, sure. And he's just a bad actor. He's gone to the screen. He should have just waited 5 more seconds and, oh yeah, no, I've looked at it properly. Most of the time, how many times have you seen them go to the screen and not change their mind? They always do, because they get told that you've got the wrong decision, go to the screen, convince everyone that you've looked at it and it's the wrong decision, then go and tell everyone it was your decision, you've changed it. But it's VAR deciding it. So I think that's all it is, a bad actor.
Yeah, but it's a stonewall red card. There's no debate.
Well, that one for me is, there's no debate. The one that I find a bit grey is, say, the Pogba challenge. So
yeah, if that was Arsenal,
on Dublin on Match of the Day is like, VAR should be talking to Mike Riley and saying, we think you should go look at that again. And then in the same breath, they'll say, well, VAR should intervene on factual matters and say, okay, when it's an offside, when it's a goal line handball or something, or factual matters, VAR, we don't want them re-reffing the game from Stockley Park. And that's the grey area. It was like, if Pogba's challenge was a foul, but Mike Riley said, I saw it, I'm not giving it. And then they're saying VAR should intervene. And you're like, well, if it does that, then it should intervene on every single time the ref says it's not a foul. And VAR slow-mos it and sees contact and says, okay, it's a foul.
Is that a foul? Did he even make contact?
Yeah, he hit your shin pad. Like,
I don't think it's a foul. I think it was a 50-50 challenge. And then the Wolves play just came off a bit worse. It was what it was. Like, it wasn't the same as Xhaka, because I think the comparisons.
I don't think it was a red card, but he does kick his shin pad off. Like, he actually takes his shin pad off.
The player's reaction doesn't help at all. Like, the delayed reaction is never going to help. And to be honest, I'm okay with that, because, you know, I'm of the school of thought where I don't like people going down when it's too soft. And he didn't go down because it wasn't hard enough. But he realised that in obviously today's game, the players go.
You want to complain about VAR? Just watch the Burnley-Leeds game. I watched Burnley-Leeds yesterday. And Burnley literally battered Leeds, like, physically. They literally beat them up on the pitch. I mean, they were wrestling to the ground. There was about 3 challenges that were high that ordinarily probably would have been looked at. I don't know what VAR was doing yesterday. I don't think they had it in the Burnley-Leeds game. It wasn't looked at once. There was at least 3 or 4 challenges. They were literally battering them, like GBH, on the pitch.
But I don't mind it as if, and it's up to the ref to give those ones. So like when Mike Riley doesn't give the Pogba foul, I don't want VAR intervening.
Yeah.
But yeah, when it's certain things like a guaranteed red card or certain instances, I'm like, okay, I get involved then. But VAR says to Mike Riley, oh, Pogba's made a foul there. He has to send Pogba off because then there's no middle ground.
I think you mean Mike Dean.
Mike Dean, sorry.
Mike Riley's head of the referees, isn't he?
Yeah, sorry, Mike Dean. But yeah, if he says to Mike Dean, that's a foul, he has to send Pogba off. And that's what I don't like, because then they'll be moaning if whatever they do, the pundits on Sky and the pundits on BBC are going to moan. So that's my only issue.
They're not very good. Do you want to talk about any other matches, or we'll go Champions League groups?
Just quickly, what's wrong with Arsenal, Chris? I know you're avoiding talking about.
What's wrong with Arsenal?
You can't avoid it. You can't avoid it.
If you could fix two things, what would it be?
That's the problem. That's exactly it. It's like, I think with Man United, we talk about, all right, that now they need a midfielder. But Man City, they need a striker. Chelsea seem to, on the face of it, be a fully formed team since they got the Lukaku, in terms, at least on paper. It's yet to see what happens. With Arsenal, what is the answer? I mean, your guess is as good as mine. The problem is it seems to be everything. The manager isn't up to the job that needs to happen. The culture in the club's horrible. Yesterday, or Saturday rather, I keep doing it, that might be, Danny, you mentioned it, and I've just been thinking about it. It might be the single worst Arsenal performance I've ever seen. I'm sure they've had worse. I'm sure that there's probably going to be worse games, but that was pathetic. It was just pathetic. No,
a really nice synergy with the 8-2. Actually, it was almost 10 years to the day that performance. But the 8-2, the difference with the 8-2, which because people remember it obviously because the score. The difference that day was United had 25 shots, Arsenal had 20 shots. United scored 8, Arsenal scored 2. Yes, on Saturday, City had 25 shots, Arsenal had 1. And it should have been 10, 12, 15.
And there was a period, I mean, Bert Leno, we've been talking about how bad of a goalkeeper he's been. He saved us a few times there. And yeah, the fact that it was a one attempt, and that was like in the first, 5 minutes when Danny texts going, Arsenal started all right. So, that's what happens. And it's the same with Arteta. He's like, we started off really well. Shut up. You're delusional. You think you're doing well. Their first attack, they scored and they just didn't stop after that. And then there was no passing. There was, I don't know if it was in the 10-minute span, but did you see the clip up there where the graphic? Man City had 92% possession and Arsenal had 8. That shouldn't happen in any period. No. You have to do, what do you have to do to get 8% possession? Nothing. Next to nothing.
Well, you take off Saka and you bring on El Neni for a start.
Ridiculous. And
the thing that I couldn't get over, I saw after the game, 8 of that starting 11 for Arsenal played under Wenger, or played in Wenger's last game. Now, this is an Arsenal team that have spent the most money of any team in the Premier League this summer on transfers. In the last 2 or 3 years, have spent just as much as most of the others on transfers, and 8 of that 11 started under Wenger. What is going on? Where are these people? Where are the transfers? What's happening? What a mess.
So yeah, I don't know. But it's not great, and it doesn't look like it's going to get any better. Look forward to the international break. They
do have a run of better fixtures now. Yeah, but they do have a run of better fixtures.
Yeah, but it's not about the winning and losing, Mark. We're going to lose against Man City. We're going to lose against some of these bigger sides. It's the manner in which they do it.
Hold on. Yeah. 2 years ago in the FA Cup, you beat Man City in the semi-final and Chelsea in the final to win the FA Cup. Everyone was talking about how brilliantly Arteta's team were pressing, how great they were. Look at how far you've fallen.
But they're not doing that. You would have thought they'd improve. At least, there was a bit calamitous at the back when Arteta came in, and he was trying to kind of sort that out from the back to the front. And all right, there were some problems we were having in scoring goals, but we were thinking, all right, at least he's starting to think, all right, we'll defend and then we'll work our way forward. They just don't do anything. They don't press. What do they do in training? They've regressed under Arteta. That's the problem. They've regressed. There's no he looked like an okay guy at first. At least he was going to be organised. He wasn't going to be any frills, but all right, let's just be sensible. Now what? There's nothing.
So Arsenal Norwich is a great fixture coming up.
Big 6-pointer, that one.
Yeah, Arsenal have lost all 3 games. Norwich have lost all 3 games. Arsenal won 6-0 in the Carabao Cup.
True.
Norwich won 6-0 in the Carabao Cup.
This could be our biggest game of the season.
The biggest difference between the two is Norwich have 1 Premier League goal so far. So they're winning. They're beating Arsenal.
We should poach Timo Pukki before the deadline day.
Honestly,
get them 12 goals a season.
Well, the irony when you lost 8-2 is the week later Arsenal went out into the transfer window and bought about, I don't know how many players, but Arteta was one of them. They bought Arteta as a fix. And
they bought was that the Mertesacker?
Yeah,
they bought 4 players on deadline day or something.
Yeah,
I don't know, but no good.
I wonder if they'll do it again. I mean, I don't even know that buying is the answer because you're buying. Who buys Aaron Ramsdale as a backup keeper for 25 million when you're such a mess as that? And what is that? That's just I can't get.
Ramsdale, there must be something there. He's young. There must be.
I feel like there's a real life football index or something.
No, there's a bung somewhere going up. Someone somewhere, probably Kroenke, is making a lot of money. Or someone's cousin is making a lot of money.
Yeah, because you were seeing the jokes that Man United got Ronaldo, Chelsea got Lukaku,
City got Grealish.
And Arsenal are still the biggest spenders.
Yeah.
We got Ronaldo, Varane, and Sancho, and Arsenal spent more money. What is going on?
I told you Ben White was too much. You loved it, Dan. Shut up.
Look, Ben White could be a good player. He's had one game.
One game.
He's injured now. Give him a chance. Of course he's injured. He's at Arsenal. He's never been injured in his entire career.
Yeah, but it's when you compare it and you say you've got all these players for the same price or less. That's the problem. Ben White could be good. But why are we spending 85 million on Ben White and Ramsdale? I could be doing this every fucking week, Dan. It's like, why?
I just don't know. All I can think is there's got to be someone making a lot of money somewhere.
Let's talk about the Champions League groups. How about that? Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. So I'll quickly run through the Champions League groups. Group A has Man City, PSG, Leipzig, Club Brugge. Group B, Atletico Madrid, Liverpool, Porto, Milan. Group C, Sporting Lisbon, Dortmund, Ajax, Besiktas. Group D's, Inter Milan, Real Madrid, Shakhtar Donetsk, Sheriff. Never heard of them, but there you go. Group E's Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Benfica, Dynamo Kiev. Group F, Villarreal, Man United, Atalanta, Young Boys. Group G, Lille, Sevilla, Salzburg, Wolfsburg. Group H is Chelsea, Juventus, Zenit, Malmo. Instant thought as always. It doesn't seem like there's a group of death. What do you reckon?
I mean,
who are Sheriff? I just saw them as well.
The first ever Moldovan team qualify for the European Championships or Champions League.
Their full name is FC Sheriff Tiraspol.
Yeah, so
they're currently 4th in their league.
A reminder Rangers, for all those Scottish fans out there. A Moldovan team that's 4th in their local league has beat you to the Champions League. Beat Celtic and beat Rangers to the Champions League.
Did they beat them in games in the qualifiers or something?
No, they didn't beat them specifically, but even still, that's the level of team. The thing about that, I actually really liked this year's group for 3 reasons. One, this is the first time the first time ever I remember Man City actually got a hard group. But they've got PSG and they've got Leipzig. Like as long as I can remember the last decade, every single cup competition City have been in, they've had an easy draw.
Not that it's done them any good, though.
We know why Danny loves this season's draw.
Well, Group B, I think you asked about a group of death. I think Group B with Milan, Madrid, Atletico Madrid, Liverpool, and Porto is a tough group. Really tough.
That was the only one you could really say, yeah. All right.
And obviously, I like Group F. One, because my favourite Swiss team ever are in it. And 2, because it's basically a Europa League group. Yeah. So the fact that Man United are in it and have an arguably easy group, because Atalanta aren't as good this year, Villarreal aren't as good as this year, and Young Boys are great in Switzerland, but they're not a fantastic team. So everything about that draw, I was very happy with.
No conflict of interest in Group F then? You seem excited about getting your Young Boys at home.
I don't understand the question.
Yeah.
Look at him, politician out here. Did we say, I don't know if we've given our prediction, it's probably too early, who do you think is going to win the Champions League? What's an early prediction for it?
Man United.
Yeah. It's hard to look past PSG, let's face it. If they keep
I'm sick and tired of this nonsense. The same thing with Man City and PSG. It's like, you could say that every year about them. It's
but then if Man City signed Messi, you would you would have to lean City. But like PSG are like knocking
When's
at
the
the
last
door.
time Messi won the Champions League?
2016?
Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah,
Yeah, it's been ages.
2016? Yeah. And in fairness, like he hasn't, this is one of the things, like Messi hasn't just been knocked out of the Champions League. They've been embarrassed. They lost 10-2 to Bayern. Was it 7-1 to PSG? Like they and then obviously the Liverpool come back. So yeah, they haven't just won. They've gone out like embarrassingly. But
I think there's every chance that there's another four English teams in the last 8, with every chance that an English team will get there, because they look at the draw, and if City can just make sure they get through their group, you know, there's teams in this year's Champions League. There are teams in there, and you're like, hold on a minute. You know, people like Sporting, like Besiktas, like the Sheriff Shakhtar, like Dynamo Kiev, like RB Salzburg and Wolfsburg and Malmo. These teams aren't Champions League teams. These are Europa League clubs.
Do you not think like Salzburg, Wolfsburg? Maybe I'm just putting them all together, and I shouldn't. But like Sevilla, they're not going to win the Champions League. But you don't think they're comparable challenges within the Champions League?
The problem with a lot of this, and this is part of the problem with how the Champions League is going and how it's now structured and how people get their pots, is because, so you take Lille, for example, right? Lille won the French league last year. So obviously they were in pot 1. So you look at Group G, you've got Lille, you've got Salzburg, Sevilla and Wolfsburg. Lille, because of their financial struggles, have basically sold all their best players. I don't think they've won a game yet this season. They're no good. It's like when Mönchengladbach got in there and had no players left. Same with Salzburg, who Daka scored all their goals. He's now gone to Leicester. All their players are going. Wolfsburg, same thing. So the problem is these teams have an amazing season. They qualify for the Champions League. Everyone come and poaches all their best players, and then they can't do anything in the Champions League because they're basically a new team and they've lost all their good players. So I think you end up finding that a lot of these teams just can't compete at that level because they had their one good season. They managed to get there. And that's what's kind of wrong, and why there's the whole coefficient thing, why all the teams argue that the likes of it, the Inter Milans, the AC Milan, the Romas, like Roma this year, are a better team than probably 7 or 8 of those teams in the Champions League. But Roma are playing in the Conference League with Spurs because they finished 6th. But they're a better team this year than most of the other Italian teams, and they'll challenge for the title probably. So it's really difficult, but that's just how the Champions League is built, I guess.
The best thing about the Champions League is the Champions League draw comes back.
Yeah,
Champions League draft.
Great game.
Yeah, we're gonna have some new points next week.
More points.
More points. More points. What's better than points?
More points.
Yeah, more points. There you go. So we'll get that back in next week. I'm so annoyed with myself. I hope I wrote it down somewhere. There was a slight change that I wanted to make to improve it, but I can't remember what it was. And it wasn't just more points. It was something else. I'll try and remember.
When's the first round of matches?
I have no idea. That's a good question.
14th of September.
14th September. So it's only in 2 weeks. We need to get working on that Champions League draft. We'll do it next week.
Yeah. Well, you're about next week. When do you get back?
Yeah, I am. We'll sort it out.
There you go. All right, very good. Love that. Have a lot of faith in that.
It's a commitment we like to see here.
I'm trying to think what day.
It's well-oiled machine, isn't it? Yeah. Very good.
What day it is.
World Cup qualifying squads. We'll do that real quick because there's not much to talk about, I don't think, unless Stanley figures out. Patrick Bamford's in the side. Well, I think we kind of touched on it earlier, but Mason Mount possibly going to Jamaica, or Mason Greenwood rather.
What?
Did you see that?
Mount.
It's a Mount. Yeah. You know, he's got some roots that like great grandmother. No. He does a really good jerk chicken. Do you not know that? He's known for that in England.
Wait, what was that about Greenwood? He's playing
Greenwood.
for Jamaica.
Yeah, Jamaica have expressed interest in trying to get Greenwood because he's only got one full cap, and there's a rule. The new rule is if you've played less than 3 games for your country in the senior squad, and you're under a certain age as well.
That's why Laporte plays for Spain. He's had 3 senior appearances for France. But he now plays for Spain because he just didn't see himself ever getting in the team.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to happen. I think there was a bit of speculation because Mason Greenwood wasn't picked for this England for the next run of games. And basically, Gareth Southgate's come out and said that him and Ole had a talk and just thought that it makes sense for Greenwood to stay at his club to, work on his game. He's the future of England, and there's no point in breaking his day-to-day up. Whereas Patrick Bamford, Gareth Southgate saying, well, you know, he was that close to the European squad. We're in the next phase of or the next circulation, or whatever they call it, for the World Cup. So we'll just give him a try. Yeah, I don't mind it. I mean, how many forwards do we actually have? This squad's pretty much unchanged from Euros, which
I think it picks itself now, pretty much.
Yeah, I
Four
guess.
right backs, one left back. Sorted.
I know.
Yeah.
It's like it's a boring subject. It's like, is there any snubs? Is there anyone you'd like to see that or someone that you're over in terms of seeing? Is there
Yeah,
anyone-
it's just all the reserves, isn't it? It's like, is it Bamford or is it Calvert-Lewin? Like, you're not really.
Yeah.
I'm not fussed by the England squad. Like,
No, not yet. I mean, it's not. It's not a cup that we need to be interested in yet. I think they're games that are coming up are, touch wood, super easy, or at least easy enough. Considering if you're going to say, "Well, England's one of the best teams in the world," they should have.
The first international breaks are always bad, but they're even worse when it's after a tournament.
What do you mean, like the quality of the games or the results?
Just the excitement from the quality, just the importance of them. It's just like, let's face it, we don't care really, do we? I'm just checking out England are actually
Hungary,
playing
Andorra,
three times.
Poland. Yeah, they're playing.
And Poland and
three times
Hungary
in
and
7
Poland. I mean,
yeah. But we're away to Poland and we're away to Hungary, so they're not
Okay.
probably the toughest games we've got in
Yeah.
the entire run. And it's like, it sounds so bad. It's such a England
It's
fan
fair
thing to
enough.
say, but I don't care. So, just go
No,
get an
you know what,
get an
though?
ugly 1-0 and or
No,
whatever.
the reason
Just
you
get the
don't care
points.
is because we're so used now we're a good team, arguably. Now we're one of the top teams again. We're so used to
We can't sing it's coming home anymore. It's just, it's not ironic.
These groups are just too, Albania, Andorra, San Marino in our group is like, well, obviously we're going to make it through, because even if we mess up and draw with Poland, like, it doesn't really matter. This is the problem. There's no jeopardy in that group whatsoever. That's why you're uninterested. If we had a Germany in our group or something along those lines, or if we were the England of McLaren's era, 2008, whenever it was, when we had Croatia and we weren't actually winning games, we were looking a bit dodgy, then you'd be interested because it would matter. But we all know England are going to make it to the World Cup, so there's no jeopardy. So, we'll just get on with it.
Lovely.
And we've already played 3 games and won 3. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, that was like, I think it was midway through the Euros or something. It was like
It was just before the Euros. Yeah. It was really weird. Do you remember, it was the warm-up games for the Euros with the World Cup qualifiers. Really bizarre.
We're halfway there, Mark. You didn't even know about it.
Bloody hell.
Some fan you are. Should we go to Results League?
Yeah.
Results League. So we did this one offline because we didn't do a pod last week. I picked Man City to beat Arsenal 3-0. Danny laughed, probably because he thought that was too low of a score.
I did. I said at the time you should be picking a higher.
Yeah, but I don't know. I thought that once they were losing, they would kind of hunker down and just stop. And they did. They just didn't stop them. I mean, they stopped doing everything else. They were just like, all right, let's practice on our formations. But they were all human cones. And then they were like, all right, Man City, this is your training drill. You just run in between, get them crosses, get between the gaps, get between the cones. And they did a good job of that.
Sterling should have actually had a hat-trick in 10 minutes at the end, shouldn't he? I mean,
yeah, it's a weird one with the Sterling. I'm not going to waste.
I had a bet on for 6-0 as well. I was gutted.
Well, that was midway through the game, and it probably should have happened, but maybe more goals should have happened as well. For Mark, you picked West Ham to beat Crystal Palace 2-0. Halfway there.
Yeah.
Conor Gallagher wasn't the new Messi.
I actually watched that game. The benefit of not being in the UK is you can watch 3 o'clock kickoffs. So,
Nice.
and things I was quarantining, I had nothing better to do. It was actually, do you know what? I mean, we talked a lot about Palace at the start of the season, and we said they're in trouble. And I still question, but Conor Gallagher is a brilliant player. I mean, he was one of the best players on that pitch. And if it wasn't for him, they would have got battered. I was really, really impressed with him. He deserved the 2 goals he got. And one of them, I don't know if you've seen it yet. One of them was absolute class.
Turning, yeah, when he does the Cruyff turn, isn't it?
Yeah,
In
quality.
the box. Really good stuff. And then, Danny, you picked Man United to beat Wolves 2-0. Not quite there.
Nearly.
They won 1-0, didn't they?
They did.
But it was in a way.
And in the process, you mentioned, United have broken an all-time football record, breaking Arsenal's invincible record, don't you know? 28 away games in a row unbeaten, going back to January 2020. That makes it the longest unbeaten run away from home in football history. So there you go.
Congratulations. Give them the trophy now. Well done.
Yeah, telling you, winning the league.
Who's got some results they want to do for next week? So that's going to be in what, 2 weeks' time?
Yeah.
3 weeks' time?
Yeah.
Let's do it now so we remember.
I'll go.
Oh, go on, Dan.
I'm ready. So I'm going to pick another away team because we know all the home teams are winning. I'm going to go for West Ham. Good start to the season, strong. Southampton look very dodgy. So I'm going to go for a West Ham 3-1 win over Southampton.
Ooh, Antonio is looking on fire. He's looking like he wants it, all of it.
Who, Antonio? Well, when do we talk about Antonio for England?
I bet you he's one of those ones you realise actually he's played for some African country, isn't it?
Yeah, probably. And also, isn't he like 32 or something? I don't know.
No, he's getting jacked though, boy. He's trying to challenge. He's trying to challenge Traore, but he's fucking massive.
Traore is so massive.
And it's funny because like Traore, the bigger he gets, the faster he seems to be getting. It's like the weight doesn't weigh him down. It's like,
well, I think they'll sprint speed. It's more like the fitness in it. It'll be like at the end of the games, he'll just be tired.
He's 31. I don't think he's ever had a cap for England.
Rightfully so. It's egregious.
Well, he's down just looking. He's down as an England player. So
I remember when Mikel Antonio was a left back or right back, wasn't he?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Then
I remember when Gareth Bale was left back. So
yeah, but Gareth Bale was just doing that just to get some reps. Whereas he was never going to play that. Where Mikel was like a defender, workhorse, and all of a sudden he was like, it's like West Ham played Master League. You know, let's just put a quick guy up front and then hope for the best. And didn't quite work out. I think Mark's frozen. I'll go. Are you there, Andrew?
I'm there. Andrew. It's Mark that's frozen.
Yeah.
Call me?
I'd called you Andrew for some strange reason. It's my manager.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm your manager normally.
I'm the boss. I'm the CEO.
While Mark's frozen, you pick.
Yeah, I'm going to go for Spurs to beat. They're playing. I need to have a look. They're playing Crystal Palace away from home. 12:30 kickoff. 11.
Early kickoff.
Yeah, just get it out early. I'm going to go for a 2-0 win. I think.
So you reckon Spurs are going to be top of the league, 4 wins out of 4? Oof, that's come out.
Crystal Palace, and it's a London fixture, just the morning ones. So. Yeah, I don't know. I'll go from though.
I can't come back. He's definitely picking Norwich to beat Arsenal. Watch.
I wanted to. I've got 2 away fixtures.
You love an away fixture, didn't you?
I'm going to go with Wolves to beat Watford. So from Antonio, who wants to be Traore, to actual Traore, I'm going
Wolves to beat Watford,
and I'm going to go with 2-0.
I don't think Wolves look very good.
See, I
thought they looked
with me
on match of the day.
Yesterday they looked good. Yesterday they looked okay against Man United, but I think they maybe Jimenez needs to play himself back into, I don't know. Like
they were better. They were better than Spurs, and they were better than Man United. They should have won yesterday. They should have won last week. They just weren't.
Maybe I just don't trust them to kind of just finish. I guess.
The difference is, so Mark, you called this at the start of the season. Jimenez obviously has been out with his big injury. He's wearing a thing around his head. You do wonder, they need him. Like the reason Wolves were Wolves was because they create lots of chances, really solid, don't concede many. But Jimenez puts it in the back of the net. If he isn't doing that, as we saw last season when he was out, they struggle. If he's going to not do that now, still, because he's still taking time to get up, they will struggle. They should have won against United. They should have 5 or 6.
I think Traore's like I think he's one. He might be the most overrated player in the Premier League or even the world at this point because
he played well yesterday. Though. When they're on it, they're really hard to stop.
Yeah, but he's like a sideshow. It's like, just because he's super massive, everyone's like, he's such a danger man.
No, it wasn't that. He was there. He does create chances. Yeah, he was sprinting. He was running 40 yards with the ball. People couldn't touch him. He was creating opportunities. I think you're doing him a disservice there. He's not the greatest player in the world, but you're doing him a disservice.
Yeah, I think Trincão's good though.
Yeah, he was the best player on the pitch yesterday. He's brilliant.
He's class. You said 2-0, didn't you say? Watford?
Yeah.
Oh, lovely. All right, so we'll see that in 3 weeks' time, 2 weeks' time, something like that. September the 11th.
2 weeks' time. September the 11th.
I got the most points in fantasy football this week. Whee.
I wondered why this segment came back to the pod. It's not
Yeah.
been in the pod. It's not been in the pod for years. now it's suddenly made a
2 weeks
return.
I'm winning, and then we didn't even mention it. All of a sudden, I'm having
You've
to
been
do
forgetting week in,
in the
week
background.
out. Yeah, I've just been forgetting. It's been slipping my mind.
Didn't even ask me who I did last week. I did Antonio, and I made him captain. So there.
Oh, that's good. Nice.
Man City, Arsenal didn't make the agenda, so all talk FT team.
Yeah, we had to move some things around. You know, I mean, really, we're pressed for time here. Danny's got to go to prayer, so sort this out. So I'm going to try and help us get some more money in the bank, and I'm going to take out Perot. Is that his name? For Southampton or whichever team. No, Brentford. I'm going to put in Livramento. He's 4.1.
You realise you're swapping a Southampton defender for a Southampton defender?
No, he's not Southampton. He's Brentford, isn't he?
No.
But also he doesn't play.
Perot is the left back for Bertrand. But Livramento and him have been swapping. So one is on the bench always and the other is playing.
No, Livramento's been playing, hasn't he?
Is he sub, Danny? Let him do it.
Yeah. Livramento's played 90 minutes every game this season, and then the other guy missed the last game and he's been subbed off. So
yeah, because Livramento played in his position. But anyway, it's fine. Yeah,
it's fine.
They were on the same.
I need
they
to
were on the
catch
pitch at the same time. Their first two fixtures, they was on the pitch at the same time. What are you on about?
Yeah, because they had an injury to Carl Walker-Peters. He's back.
Oh my God!
Doesn't matter. Don't worry about it.
Non-stop, like.
Don't worry about it.
But do you want me to do something else?
No, I don't. It's your transfer. You do what you want.
Sure, you love just talking about other people's transfers, boy. Just keep your nose out of my business. Right. So I've done that. See?
Good. How much we got in the bank now?
We've got lots of money.
Enough to buy Ronaldo yet?
How much is he?
He's going to be 12.5.
Oh, you're joking.
No.
You're joking.
Yeah, I saw this morning, 12.5.
Where are they going to put him, though? Are they going to put him at midfield?
Nah, forward.
Oh, I was going to say, if them arseholes put him at midfield, boy. It's really ruined the game. I actually think it's ruined fantasy football, putting all these... I
also feel like midfielders are too, like, their point... There's no... I feel like you shouldn't captain a forward now. I feel like midfielders... That extra point they get for a goal and an extra point they get for a clean sheet. The midfielders are just too heavily weighted.
The only difference is with forwards, typically what you see when a forward scores, if a forward scores and a midfielder scores, the forward always gets more bonus points because the way the bonus point system is weighted. So even though the midfielder might get the clean sheet point, chances are the forward's going to get the bonus point. So it does overlap a little bit. But in the last 3 years, the two highest scoring players have been midfielders. So
yeah, and they just make it too easy to do that. And I just don't understand why certain players are midfielders outside of forwards. It's a dumb reason. Let's use our brains.
Greenwood. I mean,
Greenwood,
Aubameyang. Greenwood in over Sancho, really.
Yeah, but it's like I can't put Greenwood in over Pogba even if they're in the same team. But it's like Pogba's only like 7.5.
They're the same price.
And then you think, oh well, Pogba's the guy.
Well, no, Greenwood's 7.6 now.
Well, in and around the same price. Let's not be.
Yeah.
That's it. Front three, back four.
Yep.
Have you got front three, back four? All right. Let me go first.
Yeah, well, I saw mine now.
You need to sort yours out, Mark. Great preparation for the pod.
I've got it open. I had it open on my phone.
Did you? All right. In my front three, what should I go for? Actually, I'll go for my back four first. Actually, in my back four this week is Nirvana. Nirvana is in my back four. Do you know Nirvana?
The band or the place you go when you die?
Oh, that's a good question. But we'll go for the band that once was iconic band. Kurt Cobain was died an early death, R.I.P. Unfortunate for him. They are getting sued by a young man. They have a very iconic album cover of a 2-month-old baby who's drowning in water, naked.
Drowning? He's swimming.
He's swimming. It looks like he's drowning to me. I mean, show me a 2-year-old that can swim. I'll show you a dead baby. And
that's not anyway. We don't get into that. But
and there's like $1 bill on a fish hook. He's getting sued. They're getting sued by Spencer Eldon, who was the young boy who's now 30, for sexually exploiting him.
That's ridiculous.
Even though, bearing in mind, he's done a number of recreations of this as he's gotten older, and he's obviously, benefited off of that. He's now decided that right at the age of 30 that he has been sexually exploited because their reasoning is that having that $1 bill in front of him makes him look like a sex worker. That's the case.
It's incredible what people do for money these days, isn't it?
Well, it'd be a sex worker, isn't it? Not good. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's an interesting one when you kind of change your mind. You were like, you know, I can't walk down the street without getting recognised. Well, that's because you started recreating it. No one would have recognised you from a 2-month-old baby, and you know, your life's been affected by being on one of the most iconic bands covered in the history of bands. So yeah.
So was that in your front three or your back four?
Was that my back four? No, that was my back four. Yeah,
Okay.
I switched it. In my front three this week is napping. I like a good nap. You know that about me. One of my favorite things to do is actually nap. I used to call it the pre-sleep nap. Go for a nap after work, get up, have something to eat, walk the dog, and then go for another 9 hours sleep. You've never got better. And it seems that Joe Biden has kind of taken that to heart. He was, and this, I don't know if this is, you'll probably know about this more than me, Dan, being in the streets of the motherland, the holy streets of Jerusalem. There must have been an uproar, outrage. He was the Israeli Prime Minister was gone for his visit.
Careful what you say.
Oh, I'm going to start an international incident.
Oh, no, one of our members is over there. Be careful.
Yeah, it's true, actually. Yeah, be careful. Well, no. The Israeli Prime Minister, I believe it was the Israel Prime Minister. I need to check it again.
Yeah, it was all over the news this week. So yeah, it was him. He was there.
Was it? Yeah, he was there over there, and he's chatting to him. And while he's talking to him, Joe Biden appears to fall asleep. He's got his mask on his face. He's got his hands sort of clasped together. And just as the guy's talking, his finishing remarks for about a minute and a half, Joe Biden bows his head and looks to close his eyes. Now, there's a bit of controversy over this, obviously, because he was famously called Sleepy Joe Biden by Trump. There's been questions over his cognitive ability, and the fact that he's 78 years old doesn't help him. And falling asleep during a big meeting definitely isn't one of them. So he appears to be awake at the end because the guy's talking and then Biden responds to him. But if you see the pictures, he looks like he looks like there's a bit of dribble just rolling out of his mouth. So I don't know if
this is a classic case of when in football they just look at a still of a tackle.
Yeah, I was going to say this is
get VAR involved. Get VAR involved. Yeah, it's funny though. It's not good. I think he's tired and he's half sleeping and he's kind of with it. Like I think when there's no clear decision, it's like the offside lines. Yeah, it's no clear decision. It's somewhere in between, and it's probably a bit of both. But you give depending on whether you're the defending team or the attacking team, do you give Joe Biden the benefit of the doubt? I won't, because he's old. So I know what a half nap looks like. I've been prone to one or two of them after a few shandies, and he looks to me like he's past his bedtime.
Well, Ronaldo famously naps 5-6 times a day, doesn't he? So
I bet he does those mini naps. He's just like up.
Maybe Joe Biden's taking on the Ronaldo diet and lifestyle. It's like,
maybe. Gosh, yeah. Hopefully, there's a better record in front of goal. Who wants to go next?
Go on, and I've got mine up. My back four,
Biden hasn't.
Although they've reversed it. Talking of sex workers, was OnlyFans.
Yes.
Yeah, big news.
I read an article on a little while ago on the maker of OnlyFans and how
it was one of your front three back fours, wasn't it?
Yeah, and he was talking about the business model was the fact that he takes such a small amount of admin fee, so actually most of the money goes to the people who they're creators, to the people who make the content.
Artists, let's just call them what they are, artists.
Yeah, but it was an app that got big because it works for everyone. It was like, well, we'll take such a small fee that the content creators want to use it. People pay for it. It's safe. It creates an environment where people can sell their whatever they want and feel safe. But then they tried to refinance and got pressured by their corporate loan.
Is that what happened?
Banks.
And the banks, what they were trying to ban, because you didn't quite say that.
So they were like, we'll borrow you this money on the condition that you ban sexually explicit content. And I was like, well, I don't understand why lenders suddenly think they should be dominating their business model. It's like, well, this works for a reason. People have made a lot of money using OnlyFans, and not being on the site myself, I presume there's people who's made a lot of money selling sexually explicit content. So
I'm pretty sure it's just that, like, I think they came out and said, if you make us do this, we will lose 95% of our revenue tomorrow. That's what the founder came out and said. So what we're saying to you is, if you tell us we have to do that, we've got no business, it's gone. And they went, yeah, we don't care. And this is the power the banks have.
Well, this is, and these are just some, like, probably some old, like, men who don't get laid enough, just trying to being like, oh, look at these young people, they should cover up, they shouldn't be allowed to do this. And it's like, come on, we're 2021. So they've reversed that decision now, since I put this in my back four, but it's still there because it only got reversed because of the public backlash. So and it kind of makes you think on a scale how often this happens.
The implications are massive, right? Because I know we're talking about, it's basically a porn site. It wasn't launched as a porn site, it became one basically because the banks regulated all the other porn sites as well, but it became that. The biggest point here is that the banks, because they own all the money that everyone needs, they can decide what people do with it.
Here we go.
You know, I've been saying it for a long time. It's why people
I've been saying it for a week and a half.
So in my front three, it's
like McDonald's being like, we're not going to make burgers out of beef anymore. We've decided that it's not useful. It's like, that's your fucking MO. I know you've got other little things and people come for fries and some milkshake, but you're not going to be successful.
This is like, Chris, this is like the Food Standards Agency going to McDonald's and saying, look, it's totally cool to carry on, but by the way, you can't sell meat anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
And McDonald's being like, well, that's our business. Yeah, we've decided.
No, it's more
trading. You can't sell meat anymore. That's what it's like.
No, it's more like if the Food Standard Agency went to McDonald's and said you can't sell meat anymore.
What? Okay. Yeah, no, it's exactly like that. You're right, Mark.
Agreed. I agreed when I said it the first time.
Yeah. So all three of us agree. Yeah. Okay.
It's like KFC, the Food Standard Agency going to KFC and saying you can't sell chicken anymore.
Anyway, in my front three is UK data laws. So sometimes the law is a bit slow to catch up with technology.
Sleepy Joe Biden right now.
And sometimes the law's a bit slow to catch up. And a few years ago, the UK government were like, actually, people should have more control over what cookies they allow websites to use and give people more control. And it just creates an annoyance. Every single web page you open, sometimes, especially on your phone, it's like, accept our cookie policy, like bang in front of you. You're like, I know you were doing this for a good reason, but you've made surfing the net a bit inconvenient. So they're tweaking the laws soon. So we should be seeing a lot less of those cookie policies popping up. So
yeah, it really gets in the way when I'm on OnlyFans.
Yeah. But it's one of those laws where they're like, we want to give people more control. And then you think, you've just added inconvenience. Every website's like, please accept our cookies. And then you go on certain websites that are donation funded, and it's like they'll do the cookie policy and please donate to our website, like The Guardian or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's
the thing that drives me mental is that I'm like, I know I was on this website yesterday. Why are you asking me again? I've accepted it all. I was the person at the beginning when they was doing it, being like, oh, I'm going through all of these and ticking and rejecting and stuff. And even I can't fucking take that. I ain't got a tolerance. So I'm like, just accept it all. I don't care for dailymail.com. I'm on all of them. Just accept it. And then the next time you go onto it, it asks again. I don't know what the point is anymore, just to piss me off. Ugh.
Yeah, so we should be seeing a lot less of those. So that's my front three.
Nice. Danny, finish us off.
So in my back four this week is Heineken. Because I don't know if you saw, but for the upcoming
Euros, don't like head?
No, for the upcoming Euros this year, they have changed the name of Man of the Match to Star of the Match, because Star is their logo and they wanted to create a Star award. So I get the whole equality thing, but this isn't a mixed gender game. There are still men playing football. It's okay to call a spade a spade. What is wrong with using the term man of the match, which is the term that's been used for decades? They decide they want to change it to.
We need to end that. We need to put an end to that.
And I wasn't particularly happy about it. And then I realised that was the end of my list of back fours for the summer. So
you're lying. You're lying, Dan. You said you had a long list. You're lying.
I've gone through about 4 of them. That's a long list for me.
He went through a lot of them on the first one.
In my
But
front
I
three,
look at just quickly before you go. I agree because during the Euros, that Heineken was some of the worst beer.
it's terrible.
Oh, it was terrible, wasn't it? I think the cups were just as much to blame, but those paper cups, like you taste that more than you taste the beer. But anyway,
in my front three this week was going to be Ronaldo, but we talked a lot about Ronaldo. So instead, I'm going to go with Visa. So I don't know if you probably saw the news last week or this week that Visa went and spent $150,000 on a digital picture, nice bit of digital art that looks terrible. But the reason this is my front three, so I've got a theory about this that I think actually this is genius from Visa, and I'll tell you why. Because this is Visa's marketing department that have done this, right? So normally marketing departments,
they get a bunch of money, people.
They get a bunch of money, they go and spend it on TV ads, on whatever, and you kind of hope people come to your business, recognize you, buy your stuff, whatever, right? Visa spend millions and millions of pounds monthly, yearly on all their marketing just so that people know who they are. By being the first corporate company, Visa, to buy an NFT, officially go and buy with cryptocurrency a picture worth $150,000. First of all, the marketing out of it has been ridiculous. I mean, all over the world, everyone's talking about Visa. So in terms of getting your brand out there, nothing better. You've only had to pay 150 grand for it. Secondly, that's not 150 grand that's just gone. That 150 grand is still sat in an asset on their balance sheet. They've still got an asset. All right, it's a digital picture, but if they want to sell it tomorrow, they could probably sell it for 200 grand. So what they've just done is done a whole marketing campaign for free because they can get their money back because they've still got the asset that they bought. It's genius. And I think we're going to see.
You think someone would pay 200 grand for it?
Oh, mate, someone just paid £10 million for a digital picture of traders yesterday or 2 days ago. I mean,
I need to work.
Do you know what, Dan? What you talking about this? I'm like, this is where we're different. This is where like you're on one level and I'm on another level, right? And I don't know.
Okay, you went above me. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Because what you've just done is you're like the person in the background at Arsenal being like, this is why we should buy Ben White because it's still an asset. We lose nothing because he's young. Blah 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 blah. Yeah. And you're like, for me as a fan, as someone on the outside, you've just spent 50 million on Ben White and he's terrible. I don't care if you buy this NFT, this digital picture for £150,000. Just on the face of it, you're like, you're stupid. I'm not stupid. You are. I know you're Visa, one of the biggest companies in the world. You're an idiot for buying it. There's no way you can convince me that this was a savvy buy. Don't care what legalese and words you say.
Well, so 2-3 days ago,
legalese.
Where are they from?
Budweiser have just
somewhere near China, East Asia.
So Budweiser saw what Visa did. They've just joined the party. They just spent $120,000 on a picture of a rocket.
They're stupid too.
Why?
They're stupid too. Because why we start selling pictures?
Look, so like a few weeks ago, someone bought some digital art for £2 million. 3 days later, they sold it for £5 million. Are we the stupid ones or are they the stupid ones? You tell me.
They're all stupid. We're all stupid. We're all apes. Look at us. Do you know what I mean? We're all dumb.
I don't think
we had to postpone this pod.
You don't want, sorry, think it's going away?
I don't think it's going away. I think it's just the beginning of what we're seeing. The beginning of something new.
Maybe, but do you know what I mean? Like, maybe I'm just a dinosaur then. But I'm
anyway, in my front three is Visa because I think whether they meant to do it or not, it's a genius move.
I'm sure they meant to do it. But
I've got money in not Ethereum, but some other cryptos that have started doing their own NFTs. So
come rocket.
I'm just hoping that they
that is actually
to the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good. All right, I'm going to start moving some assets by watching some OnlyFans. All right, we shall see you next week, maybe during International Week. I don't know if Danny's available, but hopefully he will survive Israel. Hopefully his pilgrimage is everything he desires and more. Speak from the heart. His feet are going to be fucking aching now, walking on those rocks. Just some pilgrimage. You bare feet. You got to walk on like stony roads.
Is that
the whole business? Yeah. Don't know. We did one in school, didn't we, Mark?
Yeah.
What pilgrimage? Where to?
Yeah, we went.
I can't even remember now.
Yeah. So I just
we
remember
didn't
that one guy.
barefoot.
What's his name? Daniel something, and he did it in his bare feet because that's how they did it back in the day. Like,
Daniel Spencer.
Daniel Spencer. Oh, shout out to Daniel Spencer.
I think we should probably stop the recording at this point.
Yeah, it's all right. Put his name in it. You can find it on the electoral register. All right. We shall see you next week.